Huh? Where the heck am I? Also, why is so much stuff here? Hello, Mac. It is I, Dr. Evil Geek, and I want to play a game. Wait a second. Shouldn't you be dead? You got killed off in Mac's Amazing World of Plush Season 2. I am a multiversal variant. Besides, people are crazy over cameos. But that's beside the point. You are surrounded by stuff that should be discussions for your weekly Halloween videos. First, you'll be doing that Universal Monsters fighting game roster you talked about earlier. The next video will be discussing scary things in non-horror / family-friendly media. After that, you will do a video where you do a review on Seasons of Flesh and Flame by A.G. Howard. Then you will do a video ranking every classic Universal monster movie. Then it will be concluded with an analysis video on the Super Smash Bros. Infection AU World in Dark. If you refuse to do any of these, you will die. You will be logged in here until you have done all the videos. Live or die, it's your choice. I got some work to do. Hello folks, this is the start of my weekly Halloween videos, and the only way I am able to get out of here is if I do a series of Halloween videos. So now I must do a roster for a classic Universal Monsters fighting game roster. The reason why I chose to make a fighting game roster for classic Universal Monsters is because back in the day, Capcom had supposedly pitched to Universal to make a fighting game based on their classic monsters, but they were rejected. They then went to make Darkstalkers, and some of the characters were even named after certain Universal classic monsters. Like John Talbot was named after Jonathan Talbot, the father of the Wolfman Larry Talbot. Victor von Gernheim was named after Victor Frankenstein. Even Rikuo was named after Rikuo Browning, who did all the underwater stunt scenes in the original Creature of the Black Lagoon. So I wanted to do an episode where instead of Darkstalkers, there was a reality where there was a Universal monster fighting game instead. Just maybe not by Capcom. That's probably the only different thing. Now, how would this game play? I was thinking it could play like Killer Instinct, where the game can be brutal, but maybe not brutal like a Mortal Kombat level. It would be 1v1 and fast like the current NetherRealm games. Also, it could have NetherRealm visuals. Now, I want to disclose which continuity we will be borrowing from when making this roster. Simple, all continuities. Everything from the 30 original movies, plus Phantom of the Opera, Jekyll and Hyde, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The Mummy reboot from the 90s with Brendan Fraser, 2004's Van Helsing, even the Dark Universe at Epic Universe at Universal Studios Florida. Now, how many characters? I was thinking we'd do 18 characters, because that's how many original characters were in Darkstalkers, if you don't count any of the secret characters like Shadow, Marionette, Dee, or Anita. So let's get to the roster. It will of course be listed in alphabetical order, so let's get into it, starting with Count Dracula. I know I said it was in alphabetical order, but we start off with the one who kick-started the classic monster franchise. I can see him playing somewhat like Dimitri in Darkstalkers, but maybe have some bats incorporated into his moveset. Countess Maria Zaleska. Now we go from Dracula to Dracula's daughter. I can see her having some similar attacks to her father, but maybe a few differences. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I was thinking for this particular character that he can fight in his Mr. Hyde form, where he is a lot more beastly. Though I do think that we could incorporate a 1800s gun into his moveset in some way, shape, or form. Gilman. Some people call him Creature, some call him the Creature of the Black Lagoon, but his actual name is Gilman. As for how he would play, I pictured him playing somewhat similar to Rikuo from Darkstalkers, except maybe a bit more savage. Igor. I am of course including Dr. Frankenstein's assistant, Igor. And I know that I should have the particular monster too, but I will get to him later, I promise. As for how he would play, I picture him being a zoner and he could throw stuff like lab equipment or grab into a bag and beat someone up with a severed arm or leg. He could be a chaotically fun character to play as. Imhotep. Originally from 1932's The Mummy, this version of Imhotep will be more inspired by the one from 1999. As for how he would play, he should start in a mummified corpse with bandages wrapped around him, and as he goes and unleashes a super, he turns more human like he did in The Mummy 1999. Jack Griffin. Jack Griffin, also known as the Invisible Man, would be a cool one to incorporate into a fighting game. He could be a zoner where he throws random objects at you and even have a super where he takes off everything he's wearing and becomes totally invisible and you can't even track him down and lay an attack on him. Like if he unleashes that attack, you're screwed. Kitty Carroll. Also known as the Invisible Woman, Kitty Carroll can just have most of the moves that Jack Griffin has. Larry Talbot. Also known as the Wolfman, I picture Larry Talbot in this game being a very savage version, like how you see in the Wolfman remake of 2010, as well as the remake from this year, as well as the Dark Universe section of Epic Universe. I can see him playing like Saberwolf from the 2013 remake of Killer Instinct. Maleva. While we are talking about the Wolfman, I wanted to include some other than the Wolfman himself, so I went with the Gypsy Lady that cursed Larry with the curse of the werewolf. Now, seeing she is a witch, I could picture her being a zoner and she could use magic spells and stuff to attack her opponents. I was also thinking that just for the sake of this game, we could make her a little younger to match the age of Larry. Mateus of Akkad. Also known as the Scorpion King, he would definitely have a wide range of sword attacks. And for his super, I could picture him turning into a giant scorpion like how he did in The Mummy Returns. Just not an ugly, poorly aged CGI mess like how they made The Rock. Quasimodo. I don't really have much to say about this one, so I'm just including him because he was one of Universal's first monsters aside from Phantom of the Opera, and both were played by Lon Chaney. Renfield. Pretty much the same with Quasimodo. I don't really have a whole lot to say about this one. Rick O'Connell. Famously portrayed by Brandon Fraser in the 1999 remake of The Mummy, I can see Rick O'Connell being somewhat of a zoner. He has used some guns in the Mummy trilogy he was in, and I can also see him fighting with swords because he also fought with swords. The Monster. Now we finally get to the monster himself, or as many people just call him, Frankenstein, or Frankenstein's monster. But name complications aside, I can see Frankenstein playing. I picture him being a grappler and playing somewhat similar to how Victor von Gerdenheim from Darkstalkers played. Just maybe a little less goofy, but more savage. The monster's mate. Now we finally get to the monster's mate herself, or as some people just call her, the Bride of Frankenstein. She could have most of the monster's moves, and I don't have much to say about this. The Phantom. or as people just call him, the Phantom of the Opera. I can see him disappearing around the stage, and he could stab you with the knife he uses in that one Halloween Horror Nights house from 2023. Van Helsing. And for our final character, we have the Slayer of Dracula himself, Van Helsing. I am loosely basing him off of his portrayal from the 2004 movie starring Hugh Jackman. I can imagine him being his owner because he could use a lot of attacks involving crossbows and other projectile attacks involving holy water. And there you have it. There is your roster for a hypothetical fighting game featuring the classic Universal monsters. Count Dracula, Countess Maria Zaleska, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Gilman, Igor, Emoton, Jack Griffin, Kitty Carroll, Larry Talbot, Maleva, Matthias of Akkad, Quasimodo, Renfield, Rick O'Connell, the Monster, the Monster's Mate, the Phantom, and Van Helsing. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified for new videos. The next video will be me talking about scary things in non-horror / family-friendly media. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. As always, my name is Mac. Stay spooky out there. Ooh.
I see it, and